BS and discover. How you doing today? This is in the same making, in the same way. Here we go again. This is part what? There you go, part 4. Now we're set in a motion, but the motion today is when you recognize that you have recognized what it is that makes you in the lack of communication with others, the lack of interacting with others, the lack of moving forward with others. That is the clear indication that you are at the door that would allow you to move in a different direction. But because it was what you saw within you that allowed you to move from one change forward into a different change without going backwards. And that is the key that you need to recognize. The word today is to recognize. Because a lot of people recognize, but they don't recognize. And in order for you to even understand why these conditions, which they seem to be conditions, they seem to be why I reacted this way, it seemed to be why they reacted that way. But in the long run, when you take the inner you and the outer that are trying to meet in an area that allows a different growth than your usual change that occurs in your daily life routine. But in this change, haven't you recognized? And I'm going to keep throwing that word at you because we could be going through, but a lot of people do not recognize what is allowing you to make the different choices. But in the choices, you see yourself uplifting yourself. Yet it may seem like you're in the same box and going through the same thing day by day, but you're not, because the change is within you that others don't recognize. And they won't recognize it because the battle that is between what is in you and out of you continue until you get to this place where you're supposed to be. That is allowing you to make the change that you feel you need to make, because if I don't do this, then that will not occur. And that's most important that we learn that in today's message, we need to recognize. And once I begin to see, okay, things are great here, but for some reason there's change. That's that inner you wanting to come out, wanting to grow, not afraid of what is going on. They may think you are afraid because the choices you don't make what they expected you to make, but you knew that at some point there was a greater battle, and some of the battles you were not able to fight, but once the battle is fought, you begin to use what was fought to win for you. And I address it as I do because I want everybody to clearly understand what I'm trying to get them to recognize, that once you begin to see that it was because you recognize you were allowed to go through that door. And that door been open all the time, but you never recognized the door because it wasn't your time. It wasn't time for you to go to the growth level of what you was going to, because if you was there without learning everything you had to learn in order for it to survive, because the main thing is allowing the foundation to survive. If my foundation don't survive, what is the sense of me even fighting? Because sooner or later, someone will say, she didn't do it that way, so it wasn't a professional way of doing it. However, it was the best way that it could have been fought. But it was through the winning cycle and receiving everything that happened that was winning and getting it together to use as one big great stepping plate for you to stand on. And that is why you begin to see why you gotten where you gotten, why you're able to be different than others, than be the same. Because if I'm the same, what is it that I'm giving you that is enlightening and also taking the strength that it gives to even give you what's in me? Because if I give it to you, do you want more of it, or is it less of it that you want to receive? But if I am at an excel level, you want to receive more of me. Therefore, I'm willing to give because you're going to come back for more. So once you begin to recognize, it is the change that others will begin to see that makes you be bigger than what is closer to you that is big. Because you could have something big next to you and be considered just as big as what is next to you. But are you recognizing? Because sometimes we don't recognize because of the changes that we go through, but it wasn't that time to recognize until you're at that level of recognition. So we go along the line. We're going to make change. Change is here. But what you need to recognize, and I hope you wrote down the 10 things that you would do in 2026 that would shock the world. And some things that you felt that you could have done, should have done, would have done, but didn't do it. What about that change? I should have done it. I felt it. I wasn't quite sure, and that's where I'm at. So that's why you're here with me, trying to see what is she talking about? What is she up to? What changes is she trying to make? Is it going to be fulfilling for me to actually see this, or is it going to take and waste my time? I tell you today, it will not waste your time. You are to embark upon an exciting adventure, to change, to honest change, to not knowing that this is not a financial channel nor a therapeutic channel. However, it is my life experiences that can be education. And that, my dear ones, is important.
Second guessing, I just do it, I was destined, cause I feel I got the blessing, persistence and obsession, that's how you keep progressing. I already learned